Team Telco. So today we're going to be looking into the basic router configuration. So as you can see at the presentation which I have done, we're going to present just like that. So we have got particular objectives which we are going to be looking at. So that at least by the end of this training, we will be able to do the following. So what we're going to do now is that, as you can see at the screen right now, we've got particular objectives. So upon the completion of this training, you will be able to do the following. So basically, you'll be able to have a full understanding of the process of how you can particularly configure a microchip router for our customers, and also the proper way to mount the indoor equipment, and also how to commission a customer's link. So I'm gonna be showing you this presentation, and also we're gonna go into how you can actually configure the router. So I've already connected my router directly to my computer, so that at least we'll be able to show you how it's actually done when the router is actually in its default state, all the way up to when the customer is actually connected and able to start browsing. So let's dig in. So the first point is that so the installation tools for configuring the router, basically all you just need is the LAN cable in the computer, and as you can see there on your right, there's a picture of the router, which is a MikroTik. So that's a MikroTik router board. That's a basic customer CPE that we normally use when we are doing our installations for customers. So as you can see on that router, we have got 5 ports. We have got that port written internet, as you can see there, and we have got from port 2, 3, 4, 5 on that router, which we are going to be describing, like on the left side. As you can see, the Ether 1 is going to be used as our 1 port, and so that you can connect a Cat5 or a Cat6 page code directly to your fiber modem or to your PoE, depending on the type of installation. If you are doing fiber installation or radio WiMAX installation. Then from port 2 to port 5, those ports can be used as the LAN ports, or they can either be used as 1 port, but in this particular video, we're going to be using from port 2 to 5 is the LAN ports. So from port 2 to 5, you can connect a computer or you can connect a switch. So this depends and vary on a different particular setup that we'll be doing. So some customers might want you to connect an extender, they might want you to connect an access point. So basically that means that any one of these interfaces, you can connect one, maybe to port number 2 to a first access point, port number 3 to a particular switch. Maybe the customer has got computers that are connected on a switch, and they just want those computers to be able to browse. So that means any one of those interfaces are going to be used to connect to that particular LAN switch. Then we've got particular requirements that each and every person who visits, who is going to be doing an installation for the field techs, or for the guys who will be going into the field or visiting a customer. Maybe a customer has got a router that is faulty and it needs to be replaced. So basically, this is what we're going to be using as as a benchmark to what is expected of us before we visit the customer's premise. So an installer should draw a diagram showing the POP to the customer, connects to the POP where the customer connects. So this gives us an overview of how the customer connects to our network and how the customer is going to be able to have communication all the way to the internet. So at least it should be able, an installer should be able to have a general idea of the customer connectivity back to the point of presence in their location. Then also installer should have the PPOE credentials. So these PPOE credentials, they come with a public IP address, which the public IP address is assigned to that particular PPOE credentials. And these are provided by the network administrators. Then also a VLAN for the particular customer. So the reason why we need to have this VLAN is because every customer should be in their own VLAN, so that a customer does not have to share a particular broadcast domain with another customer. So at least that way we can have a virtual local area network connectivity between the customer and the PE, which will be at the POP, which is our provider edge router. Then the required material for the installation. So these can be the ONU, the patch cords, the pigtails, everything that is required for that particular installation to be done. If it's just a router replacement, probably it's just the router and the patch cord, which is the Cat5 or Cat6 LAN cable. Then also, okay, let's go back here. So router, now we are digging deep into the router configuration. So after you have collected everything, you've got a network diagram, you've got a VLAN, you've got the PP credentials, you've got all the required materials for the installation. Then now you go to the customer, you get to the customer, you connect all the devices all together. At the end of this presentation, you'll be able to see the proper way of connecting the devices, or the proper, nice way of connecting the devices all together is a standard of all the installations that should be done. So then you connect your cable from the router to your computer, right, with your patch cord or a LAN cable. Then after doing that, connect the other end of the cable to the router. Then power the equipment. Wait for at least about 30 to a minute for the router to finish the booting process. And also make sure that you have got an application that is called Winbox. So this application, I'm sure when you get this presentation also, you'll be able to just click on this link where you find this application called Winbox, which we use to access the routers. You can basically access the router from a web browser, but this application will give you a better overview of all the configuration and gives you a full access to configure the router. Then when you open the Winbox, the username is admin, the password is nothing, you don't have to put anything. Then also at the bottom there of the router, you'll be able to see the MAC address. I will show you as we go through the configuration of the router, how you'll be able to identify the router that is connected to your computer. Then, and I'm pretty sure after you connect your computer to the router, you'll be able, if the router is in its default state, it will actually give you some IP addresses via the DHCP to your computer, so that at least you are able to connect to the router either via the address, IP address, or via the layer 2 MAC address. So after you have logged in into the router, the first thing you want to do is, when the router is in its default configuration, it will pop in a particular, there'll be a small page that will come that will pop out and it will ask you if you want to keep the old configuration, the default config, or if you want to remove the default config altogether. So what we want to do is that we want to remove the default configuration on that router so that we are able to put our new configuration onto this router. Right. So after we do that, we'll remove the configuration. Then we are in the router now. We've logged into the router. Then you look on your left side, there are tabs. You find what is called the new terminal. So this is basically like your command line on your PC, but this is particularly on the router. So this also you are able to configure the router from using the commands and using the back end of the router. If you are comfortable with configuring using the terminal, if you're comfortable using the actual tabs to configure the router. But in this particular presentation, we're going to be looking at a particular script that we use to configure that router. And we have got only 5 things that we're going to be editing on that script, which will be able to just copy and paste into that terminal, and all your configuration is done. Nothing else you have to do on the router after pasting that particular script onto the router. So this is a particular standard script that we're going to be using to configure our customer routers. Okay, so let's jump into the next screen. So here is example 1.1. You see this is the Winbox. So after you have installed the Winbox, you've opened the application. If you have connected your cables to the router properly, you will be able to see right at the bottom here. You'll be able to see the router here identified by its default identity name, and some routers will actually give you an IP address if you have enabled your computer to accept the DHCP to be a DHCP client, and also you'll be able to see the MAC address of the particular device you want to connect to. Then after that, when you have logged into the router, you will see this is what you see at first, right? So what you want to do is you want to remove the default configuration. So it will show you here the configurations that are already on the router if you want to proceed with that. But in this particular presentation and in this particular training, we are going to be looking at removing everything in particular, so that at least we put our own configuration on the router. So what we're going to do here, we're going to have to remove the configuration, right? If you want to see the script of the particular configurations that is there, the default one, you can click here. If you want to keep the configuration that's on the router, you can click there. But for us in this particular training, we're going to be looking at removing the configuration. Then let's jump to the next one. So after you have removed the configuration, you'll be tempted to log back into the router. Then after logging in, you see on your left here, what you want to do is you want to navigate to new terminal here. New terminal. After you click there, it will open this particular screen here. This is actually in the router, it's not on your computer. So now, after this is open, what you want to do now is that let's now just talk about this script before we jump into the terminal. So basically on the script, okay, so this is a Telco Standard Script we're going to be using to configure our router. On the script, you will see on line 23 to 27, you see this particular global configuration on that script. On this global configuration, you see global 1 interface ether 1. So what this is doing is just telling the router that the ether 1 on this router, remember I've shown you that picture of the router in the previous slides. So on ether 1 here, what we are doing is we're just telling this router to say ether 1 is our 1 interface. So we shouldn't edit this particular part of the script, right? But what we want to edit here, we want to edit from this line, from this global name, pass, SID, key, and VLAN. So what the global name is, So the global name is just basically a PPOE username. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to delete from G to X, right? Or if you are connecting a fiber client, you know, your PPOE credentials are going to be ending with FX, so you don't have to remove that. You just have to remove the name of the customer and the surname, which will be put on the PPOE credential. So in this particular slide, I've just chosen Gary Schneeberger as an example on this configuration. So basically, the PPA credential, let's say you are given the PPA credential Gary-FX, you don't have to remove these at the end of this global configuration. Then the pass is the password of the PPA credentials that you're going to be getting from the administrators. Then the SSID is the Wi-Fi name of the particular customer that you're going to be installing. So in this instance, let's just look at this SSID called Gary Wi-Fi. So this is a customer Wi-Fi name. So this Wi-Fi name, you're going to be getting this from the customer. So the customer has to provide this particular Wi-Fi name so that it suits what they want at their particular premise of organization. Then the key here is the password to the Wi-Fi that you have configured. So this is basically just the Wi-Fi password. Then the VLAN here is the VLAN that's your one VLAN, right? So this is your one VLAN. So just keep it in mind. So you're going to be getting the PPOE credentials, password, username and password. Then the customer is going to give you this the Wi-Fi name and the password. Then this VLAN is the VLAN that you're going to be given by the administrators. This is the VLAN that's going to give you access to for your PPOE to connect back to the POP. Then after editing this script, you copy everything on the terminal. On that particular script, you are going to copy everything, including the name and the descriptions on that script. The script already has got the descriptions that will give you the directions on what needs to be edited on that particular script, so that you don't have to edit everything. Then you just have to verify your router configuration by just going into the interface, check if your Wi-Fi is configured properly, check the password, just to make sure that at least all the configurations have been inserted properly into the router. Then done, your router is configured, and that's it. So basically this is just the script. So the customer router configuration script, things to be changed on this script. So you already see here that on these it's already giving you what needs to be edited on this particular script. It already tells you what needs to be configured. Then after editing the script, open the router terminal, copy and paste that particular script onto the router terminal. So if you look at here, you see that this is where you actually going to edit. So here you see Vinona support-fx, the password. Then let's say this is the customer name, this is the password, then this is the VLAN for that particular customer. Then down here is just gonna copy and paste everything in this respective particular script to take these configurations into the actual configuration script down here. So you don't have to edit anything in this particular script, just copy everything as it is. Then here at the end of this particular training, you see the customer premise equipment. As you can see here, how this equipment is mounted, so neat, and you can see also the workmanship that this team has done at this customer. The customer won't complain whatsoever. So this is our standard installation for the customer premise equipment. So we are done with the presentation. So now let's get into the actual router configuration. Right. So I'm gonna pull in. I'm gonna open my Winbox. So then I'm gonna look for this router here, which we are going to be configuring. right? So let's log into this router. So for the first time, we've logged into the router. It will open this. This is what I was explaining earlier on, that we are going to have to remove the configuration on this particular router. So we have to remove this configuration. So we're going to have to click there, remove configuration. Then it's going to disconnect from this. Then we're going to have to reconnect back again to the router. Let's reconnect back again. So after you reconnect, you see that all the default configuration that was on this router has been removed on this router. So now what we need to do is we open our script. Let's open our script here. So as you can see, this script in particular, so this is my script, right? So you can see there, so we said here, let's edit our PPOE credential to Gary, right? Then let's just say Gary's PPOE password is that. Then we're going to put the Wi-Fi name, Gary Wi-Fi, right? Then the password to the Wi-Fi, let's just leave it like that. Let's say if the customer has provided you with a particular password, we just edit that. Then the VLAN, let's say the VLAN you were given was 991. Then right after you are done editing, what you have to do now, you just have to copy everything like that, right, all the way to the bottom of this script, right? You copy, you just remove that. You go here, you open your terminal, right? After you open your terminal, you just come here, you paste. So it will start putting in all the particular configurations for this customer. So let's just wait until it's done. Boom. So now it's done. So like I said, what we just need to do now is to verify the configurations for this particular customer, if they were all inserted properly, right? So you go here to PPOE credential, you see here the interface already is 1 VLAN 991. This is Gary's PPOE credentials. Let's go here, and on the address you see that's the LAN IP address. We go on the bridge. So this is just basically just verifying if everything was configured properly. You see here on the bridge, I'm connected on that interface which is up, all the other interfaces are down. This is just for you to verify if the configuration has been inserted properly. So also what you also can do is, as you can see here, this configuration on this customer, this configuration was not put properly. So you just have to double check on the configurations to see if everything was put was inserted properly from that particular script. So basically that's it. So what we just need to do here, so after you've pasted your configuration by verifying, you come here, you see okay, probably this Wi-Fi name was not inserted properly. I need to edit, so I did this purposely, on purpose, so that at least you know when something goes wrong, you should be able to see why I have pasted my configuration, now it's not working, right? You can just verify your configuration. Where have I gone wrong? If you need to edit something, you edit. But you see, most of the work has been done. So you just come here. Let's say it was Gary Wi-Fi, right? So you do that. You check here. You see the password was already put in with that password. So I did this purpose so at least you are able to, when something goes wrong, you should be able to fix it. You should be able to check what is going on, right? So after that, let's do that. We are now editing. We do that. We check that. Right? So Gary Wi-Fi. check the standard here. If you want to change that, you can change that. We disable the push button. You will look at here, you just find your country, you put your country, installation, is it indoor, outdoor, right? Then after that, let's enable that interface, right? Let's apply that configuration. You see now that in configuration has been applied successfully on this router. So I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, already, if there's something that has gone wrong, if troubleshooting purposes, you should be able to just say, okay, I think this configuration here, this is how it was done, just like that. So now our configuration is done, right? Let's say in the instance where you want to check if the customer is already connected on the LAN. So now I'm gonna try and connect my device to this particular router's Wi-Fi. So as you can see here, the Wi-Fi is not running. So I'm gonna try and connect to this Wi-Fi so that we know and make sure that it's working. So now I'm trying to connect to this Wi-Fi. So let's just wait for it. I think my device should come. You should be able to see here the device. You should be able to see the device here. Let's just try again. 0 x 100. Right, so I'm pretty sure. So there we go. So you can see now that my phone is connected there, and that's the Wi-Fi. You can see now the Wi-Fi is running. If you go on registration here, you should be able to see that my phone is actually so close to the router, and that's the signal to which I'm getting. That's my phone is getting from the router. So I'm so close. You can see there minus 33, 32 dBs. Then you see the Wi-Fi now is running, so that means now I'm able to connect to the Wi-Fi. Then you also verify if your PPOE is connected or if it's not connected when you're connected to that particular customer's ONU or WiMAX link. Then that should be it. So thank you guys, good day. So that was our basic customer router configuration. All right, have a good day.